What's up, Mike Jimenez? Yeah, Mike's late. He's late again. Otra vez. So you know what that means. Every time Mike is late. Yeah, speak of the devil. Just pulled up. What's up, Matt Gomez? Thanks for joining. Matt Lerma, thanks for joining, man.
I like how people think that they're like, hey, you had a great show. And Joe, how much prep do we do?
None. Sam Salinas is...
We just have a conversation, brother.
Yeah. Sam Salinas says, good morning, good morning.
Hey, Matt's there saying the Saints lost. Saints didn't lose. You know why? I woke up this morning. They have the number 6 pick in the draft. They keep winning by losing.
Bad day for Mike.
Bad day? What's the bad day?
Mike McCarthy.
Oh. To get fired or what?
No, probably not. Knowing Jerry gonna keep him. Got a lot to talk about. Cowboy talk, Spurs talk.
Yeah, we really got to get into the Spurs, man. Hey, I like the new logo there.
Yeah, that's looking nice.
By the way, our numbers look pretty good on Friday.
Yeah, well, they've been looking good for the whole month, not just for the one day.
I got to give you my new Facebook pass, my Facebook one.
Say his name 3 times.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
It's Monday in San Antonio, and this is the Alamo City Sportscast. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. It's a good day in San Antonio because the Spurs are back in action tonight, taking on the Houston Rockets. They're going to run it back, Joe. Spurs coming off a 3-point victory Saturday night against our I-10 rival. We're going to run it back. Lots to get into about tonight's game because very rarely do you have a home and home against the same team. But the Spurs get to see this team all over again. And I enjoyed the Spurs victory on Saturday night. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot to love, and we're going to get into that and preview tonight's game. But we have a question about the whole issue with Dillon Brooks in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Do the Spurs need an enforcer? What the hell happened there? It pissed me off, Joe. The first time I watched it, I was like, what the hell is this? The second, the third, and the fourth time I watched it, I was like getting more and more mad about what the Spurs did and didn't do to protect Victor Wembanyama. Now, I'm happy that the Spurs won. I'm happy that Wemby broke out and had a good game. All of that stuff. But you used the word soft the other day, Joe.
Yeah.
I wanted to see somebody go up to Dillon Brooks and just say, what the F are you doing? And get in front of him. And instead, what do they try to do? They try to pull them apart from each other. Screw that, man. It pissed me off. We'll get into that, man. Wemby looked good. Sohan thriving at his natural position. Who would have thought? We're going to get into that. Champagny, was I wrong about Champagny? Is the whole experiment with Chris Paul really working or not?
Yeah.
It's a lot to get into when it comes to the Spurs. Stephon Castle, maybe give him a letter grade at this point. Cowboys lost to the Niners yesterday. They fought back, okay? Does that give you some, I don't know, does it make you feel better that they fought back, that they didn't just roll over and die? They almost came back. They almost won.
Nah,
they came back.
This game was over, man. Those are, like you say, junk stats that didn't matter because you know that the Cowboys at the end of the games will start putting up some points, but by then it's too little too late.
Yeah. The Commanders, my God, what they did to Bear fans yesterday, that Hail Mary, and what happened during the play. One of the defensive backs for the Bears in that Hail Mary play, which, again, it was like 6 yards, Jaden Daniels, all the way down the field, win the game.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the defensive backs wasn't even paying attention. He was yelling at the crowd. Does he deserve to have a job? What happens to him? How do you go into the locker room after your teammates see that?
Yeah.
The Lions are impressive, Joe. They are impressive. Is that the team to beat right now And not only the NFC, but all of the NFL. The Chiefs just keep winning. They win 7-point games all the time. So we'll be talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. If you want to be part of the show, our YouTube stream right now, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. The YouTube stream is where you use like and subscribe. Hit the like button already. Don't wait till the end. Hit the like button already. 1,054 subscribers strong. We see you already. Hand of a fist, July 26th. Matt Lerma already in the house. Let's talk some Spurs. Back at it tonight against the Houston Rockets. Joe, I mean, there was a lot to enjoy about that game. I know the Spurs almost blew it at the end, right? The lead went down all the way down to 1 with about 4 minutes to go. But that's what happens when you have Chris Paul there guiding the offense last minute or two. You find an easy bucket. You knock down some free throws. You seal the game. And tonight, the Spurs back in action. 7 o'clock tip-off at the Frost Bank Center. I will be there, section 208. Got my seats last night, Joe. 208, which is upper deck, but it's the first row.
Nice.
In the middle of the court, right? So not bad. $40 a pop. I got 3 tickets, man. Me, my daughter, my nephew going to go to that game. Rockets favored by 2.5 points. Think about that, Joe. Rockets are favored by 2.5 to come back. Spurs coming off that victory against the Rockets on Saturday night. A lot to like about this game, Joe. The Spurs got off to a big lead early on, up by 20 points in the first half. And the Spurs looked pretty good. They looked like a legit team out there. They were getting the 50-50 balls. They were going out there and running the floor. They were attacking the basket, Joe. Attack the damn basket. And they did. I don't care if the name was Champagne, Stephon Castle. I don't care who it was. Sohan going out there and attacking the basket. And that's what I like to see. It almost appeared as though, Joe, that some of the Spurs players are bigger. Even though some have trimmed down, we saw Wemby gain some weight over the offseason. But, dude, Kelvin Johnson, what's gotten into him? I like seeing Keldon Johnson out there. He closed out the game. He was there in the last minute of the game. 29 minutes off the bench. Champagne, 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. The dude shooting 50% from 3 so far this year. Maybe I was wrong.
There's something to this. Sith Lord Elias, thanks for watching, Elias. He says, Mike, don't watch tonight's game. When the Spurs have won, were you at the game?
I was at a play this weekend. So
you were at a play.
The Spurs won while I was watching Steel Magnolias. I had to watch the game afterwards.
Don't jinx the team is what he's saying. So he's saying that you're going to go watch the game tonight.
Yeah,
they're going to lose.
I did watch it in real time. I watched it later on that night. But the Spurs beat the Rockets 109-106. Victor Wembanyama with 29 points on 10 of 17 shooting, knocked down 2 3-pointers, was 2 of 5 from 3 that night. Harrison Barnes, another 2 3-pointers, 11 points in 28 minutes. Sohan played the most minutes for the Spurs, 17 points, 12 rebounds in 37 minutes, 8 of 14 shooting. You know what the most impressive stat is, Joe? Number of 3-point attempts, 1.
Yeah.
Dude, they're playing him his natural position. I like this Jeremy Sohan. I'm going to tell you the most impressive play I saw of Jeremy Sohan the entire game. It wasn't these dunks or putbacks or running the breaks. He made a 12-foot jumper, Joe. A 12-foot jumper from like diagonal, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't along the free throw line. It was diagonal. The ball was batted back to him. He shot it from 12 feet out, nothing but net. And I was so excited when I saw that because that's what I want to see. I want to see these 5-foot hooks. I want to see these bank shots. I want to see him attack the rim. If I ever see Jeremy shoot a 3-pointer ever again, if we never see that again, I'd be the happiest man of all time, Joe. Because again, Joe, what do I like? Effective field goal shooting, Joe.
You were begging on Sohan then. You said you didn't like him. He's not a good player.
He's not a point guard.
Well, he's not a point guard.
Well,
but
that's what.
No. You don't get to backtrack. You said since the beginning of the season that you didn't like him, that he's not a good teammate here, that he's horrible at shooting, that you just don't like him, period.
Joe, first of all, it's 2 games, dude.
Oh, my.
It's 2 games, Joe.
You're backtracking.
It's 2 games. No, I'm not backtracking yet.
Backtracking.
It is 2 games. If he goes out and starts shooting 3-pointers like crazy. Okay, I'm looking at his stats right now, Joe. I'm looking at his stats right now.
Oh,
his stats
Lord.
right now. Last year, he shot 3-point attempt after 3-point attempt. He shot, let's see here. He is shooting more than 50% fewer 3-point attempts per game.
But you use the EFG to also say how bad of a player he is.
And
so
you know
can't
what?
use it to fit your narrative all the time,
No.
Because you do that.
No, I was
you do that.
I was going to that, Joe. His EFG right now is where it should be.
Oh, my.
It's actually 2 points above where it should be. It should be at 56. He's at 58.
And
it's a good start to the season.
Do you know the apology?
But do you know why? Do you know why it's so high, Joe? Because he's not shooting threes. How about that, Joe? He's not shooting threes, and suddenly his effective field goal shooting percentage goes up.
You know who else needs to watch that? You know who else needs to watch that?
What's that?
Zach Collins.
Dude, Zach
Collins.
He
needs to never shoot a three in his life again.
But, dude, Zach Collins is passing the ball pretty well. I'm not going to jump out and say that the Spurs are, like, suddenly a good team, because they're probably not. What were the Spurs after 5 games last year, Joe?
And they're all right.
They were 3-2.
They're looking all right.
Okay, I'm going to go to the Frost Bank Center tonight. I'm going to cheer for the Spurs, right? But I do realize that they were 3-2 at one point last year, and then they were suddenly 3-20. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're worse than they were last year. They're probably a little bit better. But part of it is this, Joe. Here's what I do like, what I see out there.
Okay.
And see if it translates into wins. Sochan playing his natural position is big. It's big because you know what? He looks like he's having fun, Joe. Remember those 25 games experiment where he was playing point guard and he looked like he wanted to take his ball and go home?
Whose fault was that?
That was Pop's fault. That was Pop's fault. So I'm happy to see that he is having fun again, because you can see it. There's a pep in his step. You can see he's having fun out there, right?
He's just playing the position that he's going to excel in, because now they have an actual point guard out there that can run the offense.
But that's what got him drafted in the first place. He's doing nothing different than what he did at Baylor.
Yeah, just playing defense, getting rebounds.
Doing the dirty stuff, 50-50 balls. But, dude, that 12-foot shot that I saw him make, diagonal from the basket, I don't know how you call that, diagonal from the basket, it brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah,
I was like, that is what I want to see. It was a pop-up shot from 12 feet out. I can't tell you how excited that made me see.
It's not sexy, but it's effective.
And that's what you need.
That's
from
all
him.
he needs to do.
That's all you need from him.
You know, and
I don't expect him to have a 58% EFG the entire season. But dude, you give me north of 52, which is still not that good. 54, I will sing your praises all day long.
I had told you the best thing about Sochan is if he can have a double-double, or if he can give you 8 points and like 10 or 11 rebounds a game. It's not bad. If he can average 10 points and 10, 11 rebounds a game.
He's averaging more.
That's what you get.
He's averaging 17 and
for
9
now, but it's only 2 games in. But I said over the course of the season, if you're getting double digits in points and rebounds, that's what he's out there for.
Okay, you know? Basketball, like any other sport, baseball, football, it's about confidence.
No.
And when he was out there playing point, Joe, his confidence was zapped. And why was he out there set up to fail? Unless the Spurs were actively trying to tank. But he's going out there and his confidence level is up. There's a swagger to his step because he's doing what he was born to do.
Look at Tavares. Wait until we play a competitive.
And that's true.
You're going to play one again tonight.
Well, they're playing the Rockets.
Playing the Rockets, but the Rockets are the Spurs competition here. You know,
just for tonight, but the Rockets aren't a very good team. The Rockets were a 500 team last year.
The Spurs.
Yeah. You know what? We said this before the season started. I didn't think they were. I think the Rockets are not as good as the Spurs. Now, the Spurs might have the Rockets might end up with a better record, but for some reason, toe-to-toe, I think the Spurs match up pretty well against this team. Now that you have Harrison Barnes, now that you have a competent, well, I don't say competent because he's very competent in the sense that CP3 is veteran. He's just not as good as he used to be.
Yeah.
But down the stretch you can get what you get from him, a better Wemby. I think the Spurs are a bad matchup for the Rockets.
You know, the difference maker in this whole thing wasn't CP3 running that offense there and making the Spurs look okay, palatable.
Yeah.
The thing is, not the problem, but the thing is that Spurs fans aren't giving Harrison Barnes enough credit. He played pretty damn good out there against the Rockets.
He did.
And Spurs fans were booing him in the preseason because he wasn't really doing much. You got to save it for the regular season. And right now he's looking like he's going to be one of those unsung heroes in that starting lineup. And I think Spurs fans kind of need to eat a little crow here and backtrack a little bit on him. He was playing good, man.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes shooting 69% from the field. He has the 9th best field goal shooting percentage in the entire NBA right now, averaging 14 points and 3.5 rebounds. Harrison Barnes, 6'8", small forward, veteran for the Spurs. He's a solid player. Keldon Johnson averaging 11.5 points. Keldon just doing what Keldon does, man. He just dunks the ball, fills the lanes, cuts to the basket, doing what he needs to do. Keldon Johnson, I'm enjoying because not only, Joe, is he averaging 11.5 points, 6 rebounds per game? 6 rebounds?
Yeah, one thing that you noticed about Keldon Johnson is he's quicker out there. He can jump a little higher, which helps him because now when he was heavier, he'd get hit, and that was it. He's went sailing, to the other side because he couldn't get up high enough to finish his, move to the basket. Let's say if he was going to go ahead and make a move and he wanted to go ahead and do, I don't know, a finger roll, little jump hook, or he wanted to go ahead and kiss it off the glass. When he was a little heavier, he couldn't get up high enough to finish that play. And now that he gets hit, since he's a little lighter, he can get up there and he can finish his drive. And what happened? It turned into an and one opportunity for him.
It's a different type of strength.
Yeah, he's still strong, but he's leaner now, which is good for him.
And
helps his game.
It's different, man. And I've liked what I've seen of him so far. Chris Paul, though, 27.5 minutes playing right now through 2 games. Again, it's just through 2 games. The guy's 39 years old, going to turn 40 next May. Averaging 3 points and 8 assists, Joe. 3 points, 8 assists. Shooting 22% from the field. It's 2 games.
Yeah, you know what? I agree here.
It's 2 games.
With Hyman here. And I've said as much. Sohan moves great without the ball. He has a knack for getting open, getting those backdoor cuts, easy buckets.
Dude, the backdoor cut game is good. And, I don't know why the defense is falling for it, but every time he catches the ball from the corner, he pretends like he's going to shoot the 3, and the defender falls for it every single time. He just goes around them and goes up for a layup or goes in for a dunk. They fall for it every time. Sohan not shooting a 3-pointer or shooting just 1 a game is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Look at this, July 26th. Spurs are without 2 important players, Vassell and Jones, and we still beat a better team and came close to a championship-level team. I said the Spurs were going to be more competitive, but I did not say that the competition is going to literally translate into 40 wins. It could translate into them winning 10, 12 more games than they did last year, which puts them right around, 35 38 wins.
Yeah, I mean, beating the Rockets is one thing. It's a good matchup for the Spurs. They don't have anybody to guard Wemby.
No.
It's a very good matchup for the Spurs because Sengun is a small size center.
I wanted to point out something here with that July 26 comment. He's like, the Spurs beat a better team. The Spurs almost gifted this game to the Rockets. They were up by 22 points.
Yep.
And then
down to 1.
They couldn't hit a bucket. They started getting sloppy. And this is indicative of a young team still. Mm-hmm. They are still having some of those growing pains, and that was evident against this game against the Rockets. But if this was the Spurs team of old last season, more than likely they would have lost it. But CP3 being out on the court helped this young team find a way to win. Basically, at the end of the game, it was a free throw shooting contest. Mm-hmm. And the Spurs were able to knock down their free throws, and they won the game. It was an ugly game at the end, but they still won.
Stephon Castle had 8 points in 27 minutes. They finally gave him some run. First game out there, they didn't give him that 20-minute marker. He got 27 minutes in the second game. Looking more and more confident out there. I know the shooting percentages aren't there. I know it says that he's a bad shooter. That was the whole thing that we heard all in the offseason. He's shooting 33% from the field.
Yeah, look at this. We got an incoming $5 super chat from the Drew Show. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Drew Show, thank you so much for supporting the show as you always do. He says, if he wants to steal the Worm style and let him do Worm things, I don't care if he scores no points. Get 15 to 20 rebounds, be disruptive on D, and Drew Show would be happy. And that's the thing. Again, it's going to the strengths, okay? I was unhappy with Sohan when he was playing point. I was unhappy with Sohan when he was shooting 4, 5, 6 3-pointers a game, which is what he was doing. Not a shooter. But is he a slasher? Is he somebody who can go do backdoor picks? Is somebody who can break to the basket? Can he get rebounds? Yes. And guess what? This is an indictment, Joe, on Pop. Unless they were trying to lose on purpose. Because imagine how much better Sochan would be right now, Joe, if they allowed him to be his own position, his true position from the get-go. He's playing well. So I'll give him his flowers. He's playing well.
Is this the first year that he's actually able to start the season playing his natural position?
Right.
Who
would have thought? Who would have thought? It only took 3 years, Pop.
And he's coming up on his contract year here soon. I mean, they did go ahead and extend him that one more year. But again,
you got the team option on that.
Team option.
Victor Wembanyama had 29 points. I had people reach out to me saying that I needed to give Wemby an apology. Did I say something bad about Wemby the other day? I said he was a top 10 or 20 player.
You said that he would look washed. No. You said that he's going to be an all-star. He's not going to be a superstar.
No, I said he may be a superstar, but I don't think he'll be necessarily. I'm saying I'll go back
all-star level.
I said he's a top 10, 20 player. He's an all-star. I said I don't know if he'll be just like a Giannis,
like generational
or
talent.
Generational
That's
talent.
What you're saying.
I said he could be a Giannis. He could be a Luka Doncic. He could be a player like that. But are we seeing GOAT status? Yeah. Maybe it'll happen, but I haven't seen it yet.
We have to get a graphic up here, and the chat was giving me an idea. Every time we catch you backtracking, we're going to throw the chancla across the screen.
Nice. Okay, but I'm not backtracking against Wemby.
No, I didn't say you were.
And it's funny because I had a conversation with a few people about this over the weekend.
You doubled down on that.
And they heard what I said. And I said, I'm not saying that he's a scrub. I'm not saying that Wemby's a bust. I'm saying Wemby could be a Giannis. He could go get a couple of MVPs. He can go in and get a defensive player of the year. But the question was, is Wemby ever going to be that generational talent that was like Shaq or Tim Duncan or somebody who was like a top 10 player of all time? I'm saying he's probably going to be a top 50 player of all time. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to have his jersey up on the rafters. That number 1 jersey will hang at the Frost Bank Center, or whatever the new arena will be back in the 10, 15 years from now. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. He's a great player. My question was, will he ever be the generational talent that he was advertised?
I saw a new face in here. Big Sean PD. Thanks for watching and for your comment. He says, I say 35 wins is our floor and 50 wins is our ceiling. Appreciate the comment.
Big Sean, man. Welcome to the Alamo City Sportscast. Everyone give him a
big
welcome, a big hello. That'd be great, man. I would love to say 35 is the floor. I'm tired of tanking. I was a big proponent of Team Tank back in the day, but not so much anymore. I want to see them win.
Tavares says Wemby needs a co-star. And, not only that, but I think the Spurs team needs to learn how to use Wemby. I still think that they don't know how to effectively use him out there on the court. And him coming out and almost playing like a guard position where he comes out top of the key or he's over here beyond the 3 and they hand him the ball. Why are you all doing that, man? The scouting has gotten really good in Wemby on year 2 because I've seen what these teams are doing against him, and they're scheming against him. They send the double team to him, right? And they kind of position themselves in a weird angle. It's off the right hip.
Yeah.
So when he makes his move to that basket and he's going and he's trying to make his move, he brings the ball to his right hip, and 2 of those defenders that are on him, they just knock the ball away. And that's happened a lot of times this season. If you watch, they just wait for him, and when he makes his move, they swat the ball away, and it's going the other way. Turnover.
Yeah, they're positioning him in a way that is opposite of where he wants to go.
Him.
Yeah. We're looking at the dust up between Wemby and Brooks in the third quarter. Dillon Brooks getting dirty. I was frustrated by this because I wanted to see the Spurs have an enforcer in this play. Dillon Brooks, they get tied up. They're fine. Okay.
Yeah.
The play should stop right there.
Dillon Brooks being Dillon Brooks, bro.
Right. And Dillon Brooks is a big agitator. He and Pat Beverly are the 2 guys that if you were to bet who was going to do something like this, it was going to be
get
him.
Under your skin.
But you see, Brooks is still going at it. Why isn't anybody getting in the way?
And look at Pop.
Why isn't anybody jawing at him?
Pop didn't tell him nothing, dude. He
Pop
just
said
quiet.
Nothing. Okay, so we're going to watch this one more time. At some point, someone needs to run in and get in the way. And what, dude, all we got was Harrison Barnes is probably the one that was most forceful. But,
Yeah, look at that.
and then
Just
they
right
had
in
Chris
between
Paul.
them.
They had Chris Paul go with a slap to the face, right? Why wasn't anyone playing the enforcer on this? I don't understand this. Terry Cummings never would have allowed that to David Robinson. Steven Jackson and Mario Elie would never allow that to Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
The Spurs needed somebody in the middle of the way to push that guy off and go, what the F?
They needed to give him a Robert Horry hip check.
Yes.
Send that mofo flying.
Somebody, you know what? The Spurs need to have somebody on the team that you are afraid of.
You know what they need to do? They need to have somebody on the team, like you said, they're afraid of. They go out there, push Dillon Brooks to the ground, get in his face and whatnot, get tossed for a game or two, and pay his fine.
Yeah.
Because that teammate stuck up for you and went to war for you.
The good Spurs teams had dirty players.
Yeah. And they were known as a dirty team.
Bruce Bowen was a dirty player. Robert Horry was a dirty player. But there are guys.
Hey, but Bruce Bowen invented the little foot coming out.
Yeah.
Putting it underneath this opposing player when they hit that jump
Kobe.
shot.
Did it to Kobe.
How many times did he do that to Ray Allen? Ray Allen come down on his ankle.
Oh, Mario Elie was a dirty player, but he was our guy.
Antoine
Carr, Malik Rose,
Terry Cummings,
Frank
Bukowski.
Dude, these guys.
Robert Horry.
Yeah, you're not going to mess with the star. Dude, if that's our generational talent and this was the reaction that we got, that was the reaction we got. That is the reaction that we have to the quote-unquote generational talent. That's wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Chris Paul's right there almost like throwing a punch, getting in his face. He's
is
the
all,
smallest guy on the court.
This is all courtesy of Bally Sports.
I like Chris Paul. He's a little scrappy. He looked like he almost took a swing at Dillon Brooks.
He did.
He's the only one.
Hit him on the side of the head.
He's the only one that did something,
Here's another angle of it all. Okay, so the play ends there. The play ends there.
He's almost trying to put him in a headlock. He's kind of caught himself. He's like, oh.
July 26th says, check out CP3's little hit.
Hey, check this out too. Tex-Mex Frank send us.
Don't let the whoever's doing Tim Duncan's statue do what they did to D Wade. That was bad.
Oh, did you see that? That looked like a statue they got off a Wish, man. I mean, how do you give approval to that? After you see that, even Dwayne Wade was like, "Who is that man?"
By the way, happy birthday to Charles Bassey of the Spurs. This is he's turning 24 years old. This is the Dwayne Wade statue. This is almost as bad as the Ronaldo one. Remember the Ronaldo one?
I remember that, dude. It just doesn't look good, man. I'm like, what's going on, dude?
I mean, from the neck down,
but that face, I'm like, who is that dude?
I mean, this is kind of like, and I'm not a Star Wars fan. Is this Han Solo and Carbonite? Is this what we've got going on?
No, man, I don't know what this is. It's like they just didn't get the face correct. You've seen, and it's hard to get that face just right. You have to really go with, I guess, a company that really knows how to make the likenesses come to life. In other words,
I mean, this gives vibes of Apollo Creed.
I'm like
old Apollo Creed. Living in America, Apollo Creed. We have another $5 super chat from Drew Show who's coming at me pretty hard, saying, congrats, Mike. Your nonsensical Wemby take is equal parts straw and steel man arguments. Diamond is a hardest material, but it'd be little. Okay, so first of all, let's go back to the whole thing about Wemby, Joe. If we can go 2 box.
Yeah.
Joe, I miss the old days of sports, dude. Yeah, I miss the old days of you get us, we'll get you. It's soft. You called the Spurs soft the other day, Joe, but it's the league is soft. And I'm not out there advocating this to be like ice hockey, like NHL, dude. Whenever I watch NHL and I see them like throw the gloves down, start fighting each other, I think it's the stupidest thing in the world. I think it's stupid. I don't want that in the NBA. But what I do want in the NBA is a little bit of toughness, man. A little bit of just like, get off my back. Like, Do something to protect your guy, because what happens, Joe? What would have happened if Dillon Brooks did hurt Wemby? What if Wemby was out 15, 20, 30 games because Dillon Brooks, I don't know, kept twisting his arm and broke his wrist?
Yeah.
What would have happened then?
They said somebody, look at what they put in here. Collins needs to be more like Will Perdue.
There you go.
Spurs center from back in the day.
Yeah, Will Perdue.
Rasho Nesterovic.
Oh, yes.
They said he had the schoolboy looks, but he liked to get scrappy too, man.
Carl Herrera was that guy. Remember Carl Herrera? Carl Herrera, he would just be like, call in the lefty. Carl Herrera would just walk up and you'd be like, whoa, we're going to take a step back.
You know what they said? Artis Gilmore wouldn't allow that to happen to the Iceman back in the day.
Yeah.
And these guys, they were drinking during halftime, smoking.
Yeah.
They're gonna get scrappy on the court, man. Come on.
Again, I'm not advocating fights, but again, the Spurs back in action tonight, 7:00 tip-off at the Frost Bank Center. I'm in section 208, row 1. Come by and say hi. Matt Larabah saying CP3 snuck in a punch. That's right.
Yeah, he did. You know, and I ran this poll out here for the guys on the YouTube, man, just to see what's the temperature like, right? With McCarthy right now and Cowboy fan.
Oh, we switched to the Cowboys. Let's make this happen.
So I went ahead and said, should the Cowboys fire McCarthy? 74% say yes, 26% say no. But you know, the problem with the Cowboys, and if you're a Cowboy fan and you watch the games like I do, you can see that the problem is the Cowboys have sloppy route running. They can't play defense. Their secondary stinks. The O-line isn't holding up, man, at all. And Dak is just out there almost running for his life at times because they're not doing a good job. This Cowboys team has been decimated with injuries, but also they just don't run a very good scheme out there. At the end of the day, if you're a Cowboy fan looking at this team, you have to come to the realization of two things. Jerry Jones sucks as a GM. 2, this Cowboy team is just not good.
They don't have the talent, Joe. Cowboys lost 30-24 to the Niners yesterday on Sunday Night Football. It looks like a close score, 30-24, but the fact of the matter is that it was 27-10 at the end of 3. Got those junk stats. They got within a possession. They almost, if 49ers don't run the clock out, maybe you get that miracle drive from Dak, but it didn't happen.
Look at this, Mike. We welcome Sean PD, right? Big Sean PD.
Yeah.
And he says he watches the show, right? While he's at work, he listens to the replay.
Yeah.
And everybody was welcoming him, hey, welcome to the show, because he doesn't get a chance to really come in and chat, right, with us. And look, he subscribed. So appreciate you, man.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Tell your friends, baby. Tell your friends. But let's talk about the Cowboys, man, because the Cowboys lost 30-24. And what you're talking about there, Joe, when you say that they're not running crisp routes.
The routes are sloppy, man.
Sloppy routes.
Yeah.
The problem is, Joe, they don't have the talent. You get bad route running from bad players.
And you know what? You get bad route running from the coaching staff and from your offensive coordinators. Who calls these plays?
No, I get that, Joe, but dude,
I'm saying it's the combination of all these things. It's the perfect storm.
You would want them,
right?
You would want them to coach up.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's the perfect storm. It's all these little things, and when you get that out there on the field, you can just see this gaping problem.
But the problem is, Joe, is that you look at this team. Look at the running backs yesterday, Joe. Zeke Elliott got excited because he had an 11-yard run. He had an 11-yard run.
Was that his longest of the season?
I think so. He lost his mind. He was like, oh, my God, I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath.
Do the feed, Zeke?
34 yards yesterday. 1 touchdown for Zeke Elliott. Who was the backup running back? A washed-up Dalvin Cook. Why? Because Rico Dowdle was sick, and he missed the game, right?
Would it have made a difference?
No. Dude, if you had told me 5 or 6 years ago that Zeke Elliott and Dalvin Cook were on the same team, I would have been like, wow, what a powerhouse. But these guys age differently than, say, a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the same age as these guys. Derrick Henry, who, by the way, is, 30? Dalvin Cook is 29. How is Dalvin Cook so old compared to Derrick Henry? How is 29-year-old Zeke Elliott look so washed up compared to Derrick Henry? It just is what it is. Kevontae Turpin's a fun story, dude, but you know what? He's not a good player. Just call it what it is. Hunter Lepke, those are the guys running the ball, receiving the ball. Okay, CeeDee Lamb had himself a day, right? 13 receptions, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns, Joe, you and I could have caught. How was he so wide open on those 2 touchdown plays? He had nobody within 5 yards of him in either direction.
Who was that?
On both players, CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, yeah, and that one play where they got him in the end zone.
Both of them.
That was actually, let's say, a miscue on the defense, right? That secondary for San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 of those that they had against CD where he just went off, unimpeded. I mean, there was nobody around him, dude. And it's not like he tried to do a sneaky route. He just was very nonchalant about the whole thing. Everybody was going right. He just went left. Dak hit him with the ball.
Yep.
Easy touchdown.
Now, if with Lamb, now let's take Lamb stats out, right?
Yeah.
Less than 100 yards receiving. Jalen Tolbert, who again was a 3rd-round draft pick from South Alabama a couple years ago. I mean, there was a reason why he was on the practice squad last year. Jake Ferguson has not been what he was advertised to be. Kavonte Turpin, is Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott. There was a pass attempt to Jalen Brooks and 2 to Brevin Spann-Ford, Joe.
Who?
How excited are you that Brevin Spann-Ford had 2 targets there, a tight end from Dak Prescott?
I never even heard of this brother in my life, man. They get him off the practice squad.
Brevin Spann-Ford. He's hyphenated, Joe. 6'7", 270 from Minnesota.
He what does he think? He thinks he's Mexican, man? Only real true-blooded Mexicans have the hyphenated name.
Hyphenated name.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but, even though you look on the other side of the field, though, Deebo Samuel did make a comeback. Ricky Pearsall had a couple of big catches out there. But you had a guy named Isaac Guerendo. Who?
Exactly, man.
The next guy up, because Christian McCaffrey got hurt. His backup got hurt. And now you have Isaac Guerendo coming on in.
Look at Tavarius. Brings up a very good question. Brock Purdy, right?
Yeah.
For the San Francisco 49ers. He's not let's say an all-star caliber quarterback. He just is a solid quarterback that gets things done. Not sexy out there at all. But you know what he can do that Dak can't? He can run the ball.
He can't. And Dak could run the ball. He just stopped.
You know what it is? He's that ankle, man.
Never thought about it that way.
It's that ankle, dude. That's why he just stays in the pocket. And you know what? Dak needs to stop throwing that ball into double and triple coverage. Well, you know what?
At first quarter, that interception that he threw, what was he doing?
He's making bad decisions, trying to force the issue. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you have nobody open and you can't get rid of the ball, there's nothing wrong with taking that sack, brother. Because you know what? You get another down.
You live to see another down,
another
right?
play. Yeah.
Dak Prescott, that first throw that he had, that interception that he had in the first quarter, they were kind of moving the ball a little bit. Dude, Dak just floated it up there. And I know there was pressure coming up the middle. Just throw the ball away.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, look at this. Last year, Dak Prescott, for the whole season, had 9 interceptions thrown. 36 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions thrown. 69.5% accuracy, right? Think about that. 4-1 touchdowns to interceptions. This year, accuracy down from 69.5% to 63%.
You know what?
Touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's 1 interception away from matching what he had.
Does that sound like a $60 million quarterback to you?
Dude, this sounds like an average. He's not even playing average, Joe. But he's got a lame duck head coach. Is he playing all right? He's not even that. He's got a lame duck head coach and Mike McCarthy. They didn't extend him. So how could Mike McCarthy have control of that locker room? He has he has no wide receiver 2 or 3.
I'm gonna tell
no running back.
I'm gonna tell you something. A Spurs fan, Cowboy fan needs to realize this and ask yourself the question legitimately. We've been here for a number of years, probably most of us since we were kids.
Yeah.
We're born into Cowboy fandom. You're looking to see what's happening with this team in the last 28 years. Really haven't done much. Disappointment after disappointment. And then you look and see what happened this season with McCarthy. Is it possible, Cowboy fan? You got to be honest with yourself. Has Mike McCarthy lost the locker room?
I don't know if he's, well, first of all, we saw what happened after the game. Did you see one of the, was it Trayvon Diggs lose his mind?
What I'm saying. At the end of the day, you got to be honest with yourself and say, hey, you know what? Has Mike McCarthy lost the confidence and lost the locker room? And now these players out here are like, Hell with this guy. We don't care about him.
So
no more.
Trayvon Diggs after the game was asked a question by a reporter, and he got mad.
I'm asking. We can talk about it more. What were you doing then?
This is Trayvon Diggs. There was a better angle of it earlier that I had seen. Jawing with reporters because, they asked him what he was doing on a certain play. And people are like, well, he was just basically defending himself or whatever the case may be. But Trayvon Diggs was asked a question about a certain particular play, and his response back is, "You don't know football. You can't do anything that I do." And the reporter says, "We could talk about it some more." And Diggs says, "Talk about these nuts."
You know what? You can't always just be asked these questions when you're winning, right? You have to be able to answer the tough questions. It's all fun and games when you win, right? And you win big. But when you keep losing and you keep losing, you also have to be accountable for your actions and answer these hard questions.
Let's hear, because this one seems to be louder, right? This is the interview that was being done.
Took from that, out of that whole play that you took from that, you don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trayvon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing then?
Okay, so first of all, talk about these nuts. Okay, so here's a couple of things, Joe. The phrase "you don't know ball," who are you? You don't play ball, all that stuff is stupid. Let's talk about the football stadium that he was in, right? Whether it be at Jerry World and they have 100,000 fans there. Joe, how many of the 100,000 fans that go to the game, 80,000 that go into Jerry World, right? AT&T Stadium. How many of them played in the NFL? Would you say that, or the 80,000 in there that are not on the field?
I don't know, man.
A handful, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
So you're telling me that 99.999999% of the fans that are there have never been an NFL player?
There's a high percentage of them that haven't, but some of the guys there, even these reporters asking questions, they could have played.
They could have. But the fact of the matter is that sports is about fandom, Joe. So whenever they hear, well, you didn't play, dude, I get that all the time on sports talk radio. Dude, Rob Thompson from San Antonio Sports Star would say it best. He goes, "We're just sports fans with a microphone.
Talking heads.
We're talking heads. We're entertainers. We're not journalists." Right? I used to love when Rob Thompson would say that. He would say that back in the day, the glory days with me and Rob and Rudy J and Minix and Pledger, Brian Nagel. He would say, "Dude, we're just talking heads. We just like to talk sports." For an athlete to say that, it's stupid. Because you know what? It's the talking heads that get that guy paid. Because if you're doing a sportscast or a podcast or a radio show or a TV show and no one hears it, then why are you doing it, right? These guys, if they were playing in front of just people who, quote unquote, only have the experience to question them, because what if he did talk to somebody in the NFL? I'll give you an example. Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. Dan Orlovsky gives a lot of commentary about it all. And guess what NFL players say about him? Well, you sucked in the NFL. So Dan Orlovsky was able to play college football, make it to the NFL, and become a starter for a couple of seasons. But even they don't want to hear him say it. So it has nothing to do with this reporter not playing in the NFL. It has nothing to do with him not knowing football. It has everything to do with he's butthurt because they're losing.
Yep, exactly. He doesn't like to answer the tough questions after the game. And you know what? I don't want to hear another interview with Dak up there on the podium saying, well, yeah, we did a lot of things out there that we need to clean up. You know what? Motherfucker, dude. If he says that shit again, somebody needs to slap him across the face. He doesn't say anything. And they need to tell him, you need to stop saying, oh, we need to clean things up. I need to do better. You got $65 million to do better.
Dak
and you went
Prescott
out there and shit the bed.
Dak Prescott says nothing. But I don't blame Dak, Joe. I want to blame Dak. And you know I've been a Dak I've been critical of Dak back in the day when he had talent.
He keeps throwing interceptions, dude.
Dude, when he had healthy when he had a healthy Zeke Elliott back when Elliott was in his prime, right? When he had really good receivers around there, when he had Amari Cooper, when he had Gallup, all of these guys, right? When he had Dalton Schultz, and then they were to wet the bed. That's one thing, dude. I cannot fault Dak Prescott when his second best target is Jalen Tolbert and his third best target is Kevontae Turpin.
I get that.
When he has a washed up Zeke Elliott and a washed up Dalvin Cook behind him and Rico Dowdle's sick, I want to criticize Dak Prescott because I think it's freaking funny. I hate the Cowboys. I am a Cowboy hater. I get it. And it's so easy for me to pile on Dak because he's the $60 million man. But Mike McCarthy was set up to fail, and Dak Prescott was set up to fail. And who set them up to fail? It was Jerry Jones. And I know Jerry Jones wants all the spotlight to be on Dak and all the criticism to be on McCarthy and Trayvon Diggs losing his mind. But they were set up to fail, Joe. You and I are casual fans, Joe. You know, Trayvon Diggs will go, well, you don't know ball. We know enough ball to know that they had no running game. We know enough about it to say, hey, man, you know that whole thing about the Packers in the playoffs and the wild card last year? That wasn't an aberration, man. That wasn't just something that magically happened and that a good defensive line got beat up. No, we saw that they got exposed. And last year, whenever the Cowboys were 12-5 last year. When the Cowboys lost, why did they lose? A good running back exposed them. A good offensive line exposed them. All 6 losses has something in common. They lost because of the run defense. So as a casual fan, we don't know ball. We never played the NFL. We never played college ball. Yeah. But as a casual fan, we know that he has no talent at wideout. We know that Mike McCarthy is a lame duck head coach. We know that there's no running game. We know that they lost people. We know that they didn't get Derrick Henry. We know that they lost people on the offensive side of the ball. We know that they have 2 new offensive linemen. We know that the defense got worse and that they lost some players. And we know that they did nothing in free agency, Joe. So because of all of that, Joe, I can't look at Dak Prescott and say it is your fault. Dak Prescott could have gone to Atlanta, Joe, and done exactly what Kirk Cousins is doing over there.
Well, I can tell you these 2 interceptions were Dak's fault. Doesn't help your cause, you know. And
I will give you the first one. Yes.
Yeah. No, he had 2 that were his fault, and the interceptions are his fault because again, he's trying to force the issue. He's trying to will the team to victory. He wants him to win so bad. He's going to throw the ball in double coverage.
Hero ball. Because he's the best player on the field that's not named CeeDee Lamb.
And one of those interceptions came because he underthrew the ball. You know, even if he had thrown it on point, it still would have gotten tipped or it would have been an interception either way. But it was easy. It was an easy interception because it was underthrown.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I say, man, Dak is getting paid all this money to go out there and perform. I understand that his receiving core is a little lackluster there. CeeDee Lamb, he had 13 receptions yesterday, good for 146 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, you know, and when you look at the rest of the Cowboys supporting cast beyond CeeDee Lamb, they didn't do much. And they were still getting, you know, some points at the end of the game that don't really matter because this game was already gone. Mm-hmm. And they wind up losing the game to the San Francisco 49ers, who were decimated by injury, 30-24. You know, and I start thinking, I'm looking back at last year, you know, and this comment here that Charlie Hernandez put in here has me thinking. He said the fact that the Cowboys let Dan Quinn walk and now you see the success the Commanders are having makes me sick, you know. And at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself another question, another hypothetical. Would have Dan Quinn made a better head coach than Mike McCarthy?
Yes. And Dan Quinn offered to leave the team because people were clamoring for that. You know, it's kind of like the whole situation that we have at UT with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. When you know that somebody is just as good as right there with you, you know, it's kind of hard to be the main guy because Dan Quinn was somebody who has experience. Correct me if I'm wrong. He led a team to the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, he led the Falcons to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And look, we got another new name that I haven't seen in here.
Slick 81, baby.
Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate the comment.
Says highest paid player in NFL history. Clown emoji. I love it. I love it. Slick, welcome welcome to the Alamo City Sportscast. Everyone give Slick some love. Ren coming out saying cowboy pop hater flip flopper. If I had a business card, that's what it would say, right?
You wear many crowns.
So we're talking about Dan Quinn, right? Dan Quinn leading the Commanders yesterday to a 18-15 victory over the Chicago Bears. What a great game. It was a battle of the number 1 versus the number 2 guy in the NFL draft. Caleb Williams going against Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams, 10 of 24 for 131 yards. No interceptions, no touchdowns. Jaden Daniels, by the way, 21 for 38, 326 yards, 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown going to former Dallas Cowboy Noah Brown in the end zone, 52 yards. Joe, if you were named Tyreek Stevenson right now, would you fear for your job? Because if you saw what happened yesterday, Joe, I know you did see it, but I don't know if anyone over here saw it. We all saw what happened with the Hail Mary, right?
Yeah.
55 yards, touchdown, wins the game.
I saw that game.
I was watching it live with my dad.
Yeah.
We went crazy, right? But Tyreek Stevenson of the Bears should not have a job. Tyreek Stevenson on that play.
Do you have the video of it?
I have it right here.
Let's take a look.
Look what happened. Look what happened. This is courtesy of CBS Sports, by the way. And actually, this is actually not courtesy of CBS Sports. This is video from the crowd. Tyreek Stevenson is right here. Defensive back on the Hail Mary play. Jawing with the crowd and taunting them because why? The Bears had just taken the lead a few plays before with about 30 seconds to go. He's yelling at the crowd, and look, the ball snapped, and he's not paying attention. They're already down the field, and guess what? Guess who's the player that tips the ball in the air?
That dumbass.
It was him. Hail Mary, he wasn't paying attention. He's the one who tipped the ball in the air, and Noah Brown caught the touchdown. Tyreek Stevenson, my God, how do you have a job?
Excuse me. Sneeze.
That's a great video there from Commanders fans in the box over there. But they busted. Look at this guy. Look at this idiot. Look at this idiot. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4
Play
Mississippi.
started, fool.
Dude, the play started 4.5 seconds before. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God.
Look at Midtown Texas comment. This is good. He says, we don't need a coach with magnolias of steel.
Here's that video again. Look at him. He's taunting over there on the right-hand side.
Jawing it up with the fans.
They were inside the 20 by the time he went by and to go do something. There he is right there on the corner. There he is. Like this is a Zapruder film. Who's he covering? He's covering nobody. Tips the ball in the air. Noah Brown touchdown. Jeez.
And look at that. The fans are already welcoming Slick 81. They said, welcome. It's like, we're building a community here, man. Everybody, when they see someone new, they welcome them into the Necios. That's what we call our fan base here. The Necios. They welcome into the Necio fandom.
Yeah. Tyreek Stevenson released a tweet saying, to Chicago and teammates, my apologies for lack of awareness and focus. The game ain't over until the zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen. Hashtag bear down.
Yeah, look at that. Matt Lerma's bringing a point. We got 42 viewers, less than 15 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get the number up. Just hit that like button. Just takes 1 second, man. Give us a thumbs up, a heart. Do something here. Help the show grow.
That's right. We'll talk more about the NFL on the other side. Let's give some love to, and we're going to talk more about the Spurs on the down the stretch as well. But let's give some love to MCS General Contracting.
I hit the wrong button. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting. A call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
That Diamond Hard Concrete. So Slick and all the new guys who are watching right now, somebody put down Slick Blow, Belle Biv DeVoe. She's driving me out of my mind. By the way, the best advice ever given in a song is Belle Biv DeVoe saying, "Never trust a big butt and a smile." Okay, that's a great advice there. The chat is powered by MCS General Contracting. You give them a call at 210-774-9155. Maybe if you need a basketball court created, pickleball court, slab for a house, maybe a swimming pool, a parking lot for your business, be ADA compliant, a ramp, or what they did at my house. They put together a sidewalk on the side of my house to help with the drainage of the water going out. They also did a landing and extension to my covered patio. Very good job. I'm a very, very happy customer. MCS General Contracting, Chris Leha and the boys.
There's the comment.
They do
there.
an amazing
Midtown
job.
Texas, man.
Poison. Yeah. Spider-Man and Poison.
Did you see that, man? They had that when we were young for entertainment news. We'll talk about that. The show over in Vegas concert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's some people that posted some video of the show, man. It's pretty good show, man.
Very nice. Very nice. Let's talk about the NFL standings right now. The NFC East. Dallas Cowboys are 3-4 now. Dude, the season's starting to run away, man, because they've got the Falcons next. Kirk Cousins is now throwing down raps in the middle of games over there. Then they got the Eagles and then the Texans, and then on the road against the Commanders. Joe, they're 3-4. They could be 3-8 when it's all said and done. I think best case scenario, they're 5-6. But you take a look, the Commanders with that thrilling victory, 6-2, still in first place in the NFC East. Jaden Daniels came back from injury. Eagles have won 3 in a row at 5-2. Cowboys ain't making the playoffs, man, unless they win this division somehow, some way. In the NFC North, all the teams that are north of 500, the Bears dropped to 4-3, but you've got the Packers at 6-2, the Vikings at 5-2, but it's your Detroit Lions, winners of 5 in a row at 6-1, looking like the class right now, the NFC. Falcons, they beat up on the Buccaneers again, Joe. They swept them this year. 5-3 lead the NFC South. And in the NFC West, nobody wants it because 3 teams are tied at 4-4. For as bad as the Niners have played, they are tied for first place right now. One of those teams is going to make the playoffs. In the AFC, the Chiefs at 7-0. Broncos somehow at 5-3, won 2 in a row. The Chiefs beat the Raiders by a touchdown. Texans, dude, I mean, I don't know what to take from the Texans, man.
Yeah.
Texans yesterday beat the Colts 23-20. They barely beat them in the first game of the season. We saw them beat New England, beat the brakes out of New England. Dude, there's something about this Texans team that doesn't put games away. They've done it once against the Packers, right? But look at this. They beat Indy by 3. They lost to the Packers by 2. They beat Buffalo by 3. They beat Jacksonville by 4. They beat Chicago by 6. They beat Indy by 2. They are 6-2, Joe. But they are not a 6-2 team that is like blowing people away. They're 3 or 4 plays away from being 2-6. I don't know what to take from this Houston Texans team, Joe. Does that worry you at all as they take on the Jets next? And then they've got the Lions and Cowboys.
The Texans are my Sancha team. I knew this was going to happen against the Colts because they're in the same division, right? They're division rivals. Doesn't matter what the records are. When you're playing somebody in your own division, you're going to get up for that game. And this did not disappoint. The Colts, Texans found a way to win. It wasn't a pretty game, but they found a way to win. I think this is the Texans' identity. You know, they're going to play a scrappy game, kind of like the Falcons. They're going to find ways to win. I still like the Texans' chances here. I think the Texans are going to be playoff bound. And hopefully they'll go further than they did last season. But I don't think you can discount this Texans team, man. I think they're going to find ways to win.
The Texans are a very talented team. They've had injuries this year, but again, they're 4-0 at home. Undefeated at home right now. The 2 seed right now in the AFC.
Look at Mario Cavazos sending us a $1.99 super chat.
Nice.
Appreciate you, Mario.
Reminding us, don't get high on your own supply. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, what happened to the Ravens, man? How did they lose to the Browns yesterday? The Browns, Jameis Winston.
Jeez.
Filling in for an injured Deshaun Watson. Jameis Winston goes for more than 300 yards, and they beat up on the Ravens.
Hey, man.
Any given Sunday, right?
You know what? That's the one thing that was really missing here with this Ravens team. At the Ravens team, the Browns team, is that they just didn't have an identity offensively because Deshaun Watson, he's washed as a quarterback, dude. He's just horrible, man.
And they've got 3 more years of that
Jameis
contract.
Winston isn't a bad QB, though. He got the shaft over with the
New
Bucs.
Orleans?
With the Bucs, too, because they wanted to make room for Brady, right? So we're going to kick him to the curb. We're going to bring in Brady. They sent him packing, right? And he didn't have really a chance over there with New Orleans, you know?
Jameis Winston is loved by his teammates. Apparently, he's just like a nice guy that everyone loves.
He's not a bad QB, man.
He has a cannon for an arm, but it's between the ears. He will have a great game, but between the ears, he plays hero ball. We talked about that with Dak Prescott.
Maybe he's changed his ways a little bit, sitting on the bench. You know.
Do you know? I the problem with Jameis, and I got to see him play for the Saints. You know, in the time that he was there, he started a few games for the Saints
because of injury. Yeah,
I don't trust Jameis Winston to complete a pass within 10 yards. You know that. You know the normal dink. You know the normal 6-yard out, 10-yard curl in. I don't trust him with that throw, Joe. But I trust him with a 35-yard deep out, fly route down the field, the post down the field. I trust him with that throw. He has no touch, is what I'm saying.
Look at that. Set the lie assist. Diggs. Texans lost Diggs, torn ACL.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into that a little bit more. Steelers 5-2 right now are on top of the AFC North right now. And what if I told you, Joe, that less than halfway through the season, the Buffalo Bills have a 3.5 game lead in the AFC East, dude, because the Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets all suck. So people were making fun of me because my Saints lost to the Chargers. And I was like, no, they actually won. Because right now, if the season were to end right now, there's no lottery in the NFL, Joe. It's all about record right now. The number 1 pick in the NFL draft in 2025, as of right now, would go to the Carolina Panthers. Number 2, the Tennessee Titans. 3, the New England Patriots. 4, the Jets. 5, the Jaguars. And 6, my New Orleans Saints, baby. I want them to lose every game the rest of the way. I'm a true fan.
Do the Cowboys own their pick if they get a...
Cowboys do own their pick, and right now would be picking at number 13.
Yeah. Well, that might be higher depending on where they fall at the end of the season. But you know what? If I'm the Cowboys, as bad as they've been playing, you don't even have to tank. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Now, according to the exactly, it's just going to happen, right? Now, according to Tankathon, the mock draft as of today has Carolina taking Shadir Sanders, Deion's kid.
Man.
Now, don't they have Bryce Young? Are they going to give up on Bryce Young at this point?
Oh,
Number
man.
2, Tennessee, giving up on all the quarterbacks that they've drafted over the years, the Will Levises of the world.
Who?
Going after Cam Ward, formerly of UIW, who's now leading Miami. Travis Hunter from Colorado, the guy who plays both offense and defense, running back wide receiver and cornerback, would go number 3 to New England. Mason Graham, defensive lineman, the best defensive lineman in the college ball, would go to my Saints at 6. The Cowboys at 13, according to Tankathon, would take Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia.
They're going to take a quarterback. Ewers.
Quinn Ewers, according to the Tankathon, would go 10 to the Giants, so they can replace Danny Dimes.
Ewers over there with the Jets might not be a bad thing, bro.
Yeah, not at all, baby. They have the Texans taking a defensive lineman named Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss.
And you know what? That's going to just make that's the Texans, right? That's just going to make their defense better.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already a decent team. I mean, they're really good.
College football rankings got released.
Oh, no. You know what? I can't wait to talk with Johnny Walker, man.
On Friday?
On Friday, I'm going to be like, Johnny, I ain't going to lie, bro. I was scared, man.
So for those of
They had me scared.
So for those of you who are new to our show, Slick and the other gentleman who's on our show, we have Johnny Walker, a Longhorn great, Holmes Husky legend, member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. Johnny Walker joins us on Friday to give his thoughts on the NFL, but more importantly, the Texas Longhorns.
We didn't hang out with Johnny again,
He's
man.
great.
I like hanging out with John. Johnny's a fun dude, man.
He's great.
Yeah.
Oregon is the number 1 team in the land. 61 out of the 62 first place votes Georgia has moved up to number 1. Georgia, as you know, a couple weeks ago beat Texas at DKR. Penn State still undefeated at 7-0, moves up to number 3. Ohio State number 4. Miami back in the top 5 for the first time in like a decade. 8-0. They just somehow keep winning games, man. They all they do is win. A lot of them are ugly, come from behind type stuff, but they all they do is win.
You sounded like Spernandez there, man.
What's that?
That's all he puts after every Spurs win.
Yeah.
All we do is win.
And when we win, we bounce.
Yep.
Texas Longhorns got to win against Vanderbilt on the road, the 25th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. But it was a close game, Joe. It was a little too close for comfort there. They got that win by less than a touchdown. But Texas, because even despite the win, dropped a spot down to number 6.
If they had dispatched Vanderbilt handedly, they'd probably be 4.
Right.
But since they only won by 3, now it's the Hurricanes that took their spot at 5 and pushed them to 6.
Tennessee.
That's a good team.
Yeah, Tennessee's a good team. At number 7, Notre Dame beat the living crap out of Navy.
Jeez,
oh, my God.
They're throwing the towel.
Call the National Guard.
Throw in the
that
towel.
game was over in a hurry.
They should do something when there's when you're up that big, dude.
Yeah.
Just call it, man. They should ask the coach.
Like a Little League Baseball, 10-win rule. BYU at number 9, and then A&M. Welcome to the top 10. A&M lost the season opener. I think they lost it to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And then they've won 7 in a row since. They beat LSU. LSU was up 10 at halftime. A&M. Look at A&M, man. Getting closer. If I was to tell you that A&M was the number 1 team in the SEC, would you believe it?
I would
because
not
I'm looking at the rankings. Look at the rankings. Georgia's above them. Texas above them, right? You see teams in the SEC that are above them, but I go to the standings. The standings tell me something different, Joe. Something different. Let's see here. SEC. Your Texas A&M Aggies right now. The 10th ranked A&M Aggies are the only undefeated team in the SEC at 5-0. They have a better record in the SEC than Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee, who are all ranked higher. A lot of people reached out to me on Twitter over the weekend. Were like, "Hey, shouldn't A&M be ranked higher than 10? They're undefeated for crying out loud. They're 7-1." Aggies though have played 5 of their 7 games at home. They also had one that was a neutral site. Up next for the Aggies, they've got South Carolina taking on the Gamecocks, 6:30 on ABC. That's going to be this weekend. Then they've got New Mexico State, and then they've got Auburn, and then Texas. Joe, 3 very winnable games. We're going to be talking about an A&M team that's going to be 10-1 going into that game against the Longhorns at Kyle Field. Aggies might be playoff bound.
Do you see who made the top 20?
No, I didn't.
SMU.
The Ponies, baby. The Ponies. That's all they do is win. They beat Duke over the weekend.
Yep.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, pour some out for Tim Gonzalez.
Yeah. So we're gonna pour one out for the Duke Blue Devils.
Yep. Couldn't beat SMU, man.
Oh, that is great, man. That is great. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's Fire for your daily Spurs content.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
On Locked On Spurs today, he has Dr. Ryan McCorkle, who goes by Austin ER Doc on Twitter. Dr. McCorkle is going to be talking about the injury of Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell, who's missed the first 2 games of the season, will miss tonight's game as well. Going to be reevaluated on November 1st. Devin Vassell had foot surgery due to an injury he had at the end of last season. Apparently did not heal correctly or properly. Made the announcement during Spurs Media Day that he was going to miss the first couple of weeks. We have seen Devin Vassell at the games cheering on the team. But again, we're going to have on Locked On Spurs today a doctor talking about Devin Vassell's injury. Also going to be recapping and previewing the game against the Houston Rockets. Joe, I think we have a rivalry now. I questioned this the other day, Joe. Remember we were talking about it. I questioned who the Spurs' real rival was.
Yeah.
People were saying that it's the Lakers or whomever, and I told you that there was no real rival anymore. Like we had a rivalry with the Suns back in the day.
They have Mavericks.
The Mavericks. There's been a team every 5 years or so that we're the rivals of. I think it's easy to say that it's Houston.
Yeah, Houston fans said some bad things about the city, and that started a heated debate.
And then you also had Jeremy Sohan last year with Amen Thompson when they got that dust up
blew
and
him a kiss.
blew him a kiss. I was there at the Toyota Center in
Yeah.
Toyota Stadium in there in Houston. So now we're seeing what happened with Dillon Brooks. There's some venom against Houston, and now Jeremy Sohan, as you said, is saying F Houston.
The Rockets. Yeah.
Not the Rockets. F Houston.
Yeah.
He's effing the city.
Good. I like it, man.
Okay, we got a rival, and I'll be there tonight. Section 208, baby.
Oh, and Sam Salinas is asking you a question, Mike, and you haven't really answered it.
I did say it. They beat LSU. I said LSU was up by 10 points at halftime, and A&M came back to win.
38.
I did. Sam, I did say it, and we have the tape to prove it. I said LSU was up 10 at halftime. A&M came back to win. I literally just said that 5 minutes ago.
I bet your daughter was distraught, just like my daughter is distraught.
My daughter wasn't even watching the game. She goes, "Oh, we lost the Aggies."
My daughter, she was telling me, and it's funny because she doesn't really watch sports all that much, right?
Yeah.
But she supports UTSA because she goes to the school, right? So she goes to a handful of games every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sits in the student section there watching UTSA football. And I told her, man, UTSA lost another one, a heartbreaker by 1 point.
Oh, did they lose to Tulsa this week? They were up by 3 with like in the fourth. I was at a casino in Louisiana.
They lost by 1 point.
I was at a casino in Louisiana when this all went down.
So I told my daughter, I said, man, pour some out for your football team. I said, they lost by 1 point against Tulsa, man, 46-45. She goes, it's because we suck.
Oh no, we suck again.
It's like it's a young team, man, and you know they've lost a couple games this season, heartbreakers, man, and it's indicative of a young team. And you could see Traylor, bro, and I feel bad for him, man. He's going through it. He knows this is a young team,
yeah, and
they're gonna make mistakes like this, and it's gonna make them better. But they have to have that heartbreak, man.
Traylor probably wishes he was out there at A&M, man. They overlooked him, man. They interviewed him. Second interview and all that stuff, but no.
And what do we say? It's just like that song from Three Doors Down. Why can't that be me?
Jeff Garcia also has an article where he spoke with Julian Champagny about having Chris Paul as a teammate. Again, go to kens5.com, or you can go on to Twitter or Threads at Jeff G Spurs. And again, you can subscribe to Locked On Spurs like I do on Spotify and on YouTube as well.
You know who I was looking at the other day on X after the UTSA game, and I thought she made a lot of sense, and I want to get her on this show. See if we can make it happen. I want to get April Lancier on the show.
Really?
She had a lot of things to say about the state of the current team, about the fans bashing the team, saying bad things about the players, bad things about the team in general.
Mm-hmm.
And she was voicing her concern out on the X.
Let's talk about it.
Let's get her on, dude.
I was going to pour one out for me, Joe, because I couldn't watch the Spurs game live because me and the Chica were at a play. We're watching Steel Magnolias, Joe. Did you ever see that movie growing up?
I did not see that movie.
Yeah, we were out watching the play. It was a theatrical performance. Had a little bit of an issue that happened. It's a very dramatic, sad thing. It's funny, but it's very dramatic. And towards the end, where it hits like the moment of truth, like where it's like in this play, it's a speech that's given.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be very dramatic, embarrassing moment. My stomach started growling really loud, dude, so loud that my girlfriend went from crying because of what was going on the stage to laughing at me. And I'm thinking to myself, how many people are hearing this? Can the performers hear my stomach growl?
I thought you were going to say you farted.
I didn't fart, dude. I didn't fart, but we were at the casino. We ate room service at 7 a.m. because we wanted to go downstairs and play more slots, right?
Yeah.
It was 10 p.m. at this point. I had gone from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. without a meal. I had maybe some crackers, but I hadn't had a meal.
You're like, I forgot to eat.
And my stomach was just... ever. It was so stupid loud. It was good.
You should have taken some snacks or something in there, man. Granola bar or something, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this was great, man. Joe, in-game betting at the casino, Joe, at the Delta Downs. The Dodgers were losing. I placed a bet that they would come back and win that same game. Home run from on the bottom of the 10th to win it. Won me $264, dude. I was excited about that, dude. That was a great game. The Dodgers now up 2-0 in the World Series, Joe.
I saw that, man. After that walk-off home run, man, I think they just snatched New York's heart.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, right?
Yeah. After that, they snatched New York's heart. But you know what? The last couple of teams, they were showing a statistic out there that went 2-0 in the World Series. They went on to lose.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Game 3 in the Bronx tonight, 7:08 first pitch.
And Yankee fans are saying, we got them right where we want them. Yankees in 6. You'd have to win 4 in a row for that to happen.
You do.
Man.
And on top of that, man, maybe the stats say that the last
can't happen.
That you can go up 2-0 and lose. I'd rather be up 2-0 than be down 0-2. Aaron Judge, dude, what happened to him? Aaron Judge is not even all right. Judge is just
crickets.
He's just all right. Want to get some entertainment news in, Joe? You said you wanted to talk about something entertainment-wise. What's going on?
Yeah, man. They were talking about, when we were young, the tour that they had over the weekend.
Yeah.
They had Fall Out Boy out there, and all the people going out there of a certain age, right? So they showed video of what it was like, the concert and whatnot. I remember you had said something too. Hey, man, this is a great card, that a great show that they're having. They had a whole bunch of different bands that weekend. They were maybe considering going to that concert. It was actually pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying how nice it was to see these bands up on stage, and it looked like everyone was having a great time. It was a good venue, man. Good venue.
I want to check out Lovers and Friends this year, man. I've been saying that the past couple of years. By the way, let's hope that things are okay for Josh Reynolds. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's exit 7, Josh Reynolds.
Photo exit 7.
Former J High School star. San Antonio native Josh Reynolds shot after leaving a strip club. The news came down a few days ago over the weekend. 2 people have been charged with attempted murder. Crazy. It says a report from NBC affiliate 9 News in Denver reports that he was shot in the left arm and once in the back of the head.
Damn.
Non-life-threatening injuries. Someone named Burr Charlesworth was arrested in connection with the shooting. The shooting happened on October 19th. The arrest happened on the 22nd. Another one named Luis Mendoza was also arrested as well. Both men charged with attempted first-degree murder and first-degree assaults. Happened at 3:12 a.m. on the 18th of October. Reynolds and a friend were leaving a strip club at 2:45 a.m. I don't know, man. I guess that's what happens at the strip club at 2:45.
Swiss, man, our boy doing his thing. Look at what somebody had put in here, man, to go ahead and take a look and see what they had put up on there about you. Mario Cavazos, Joe, Swiss Photoshop of Mike McDonald's degree.
Oh, that was a flashback, baby. He'd already shown that one before.
That one is funny, man. I like that. I got to show it, dude.
Man, that was 25 pounds ago, Joe.
Michael Skip Jimenez.
I'm a little bit trimmer now.
Oh, God, dude. That's funny.
We're going to pour one out for Fernando Valenzuela?
Yeah, man, we had said that the other day, dude, and we poured some out for him, man. The great Fernando Valenzuela, who actually did play for the San Antonio Missions ball club back in the day, then went on to create Fernando Mania over with the Dodgers.
I wonder if the Missions are going to do anything to honor him this
They should
year.
commemorate him, man. Do something. I mean, that's probably one of their greatest players that came through that ball club,
Mm-hmm.
Went on to go and play at the highest level. It's Wild Zebra is a shady place, y'all. I don't even know if it's open anymore, dude.
Joe, apparently there's a new blockbuster movie out, Joe.
What is it?
The #1 movie, Venom: The Last Dance.
No, man. I
exceeded expectations. $51 million at the box office.
You know what? At the end of the day, that $51 million is the lowest take for any Venom movie on opening weekend. It's the lowest showing for any of the 3 films that have come out, including, they had the other 2 previous, and now this is the 3rd film in the franchise. It opened up to beat expectations, but it still didn't rake in the amount of money that the other 2 films
Number
made.
one, I guess it's not a blockbuster by any stretch of the imagination, but it still got number 1. Smile 2 was number 2.
Yeah.
I got to check out that one. I like Smile. Smile was one of my favorite scary movies.
Look at that. Venom was good. It was a B. All right. I'm not saying that I'm a fan of it. I mean, to each his own. That's something that I would watch only because, again, man, I'm a big nerd at heart. I used to go to these Comic Cons when I was a kid back in the day before it was a thing, right? And they used to have them over here by the airport at the Wyndham. They had little comic conventions. They weren't as big as they were now, but it allowed me to meet some of the greatest artists in comic book history, man. I got to meet some of the greats there, get some stuff autographed by them. I even got to meet the great Stan Lee as a kid, dude.
That's amazing, dude.
It was cool stuff. And the thing that I don't appreciate about the Venom movies is they're not comic book accurate to what the character is supposed to be. I get, you got to change some things to put it out on film. They want to kind of make it more palatable for the masses. It's not my thing, dude. I've watched it and I try to like it and just like, it's all right.
I don't think I've seen any of those at all.
All right.
It's all right. I was trying to get nostalgic right now, Joe. So my girlfriend was talking to me about she was wearing some outfit the other day. No, it wasn't an outfit. It was a bag, like a purse or something like that. And I said, I really like that bag. And she goes, great. It's Carlos Santana. Like the musician Carlos Santana. Apparently it's like his line of things. I didn't realize that he was into all that stuff. But did you know, Joe, that 25 years ago today, back in 1999, October of 1999, the number 1 song in the nation, Joe, was Smooth by Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
I remember that.
Carlos Santana. That song was number 1 for 10 weeks, Joe. Jeez. From mid-October all the way through to the year 2000. So the last song of the 1900s that was number 1 was Smooth by Rob Thomas and Carlos Santana. Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, by the way, I've seen them in concert a couple of times. Very good. Rob Thomas apparently was like really friendly with fans over at the Majestic Theater last year. What I found interesting about Rob Thomas is that he talks about the worst experience he ever had on stage, and it happened to be here at the Sunken Gardens.
Oh no, Sunken Gardens, man! It was, but it wasn't like cutting edge.
He opened up for No Doubt.
Oh yeah,
over there at the Sunken Gardens, and there's video of this. Maybe we'll find it on YouTube one day. But anyway, he talks about the story about how he was being heckled, and that he made the mistake of giving the fan the microphone to say what he needed to say, and they just told him to get the F off the stage. Like, you guys suck. We want to see No Doubt. Man. And he talked about how he was embarrassed by it all. Rob Thomas, dude, I like Matchbox 20. I have nothing wrong with him. His solo stuff's all right.
I got to see a lot of bands over at the Sunken Gardens for free, because if you went to the Sunken Gardens, there's like a little trail off the beaten path, right? And me and my wife, when we were dating at the time, we used to walk up this little secret path, the little trail they had, and it led to this little cove, like almost like a little outcropping of rock.
Yeah.
And you would just sit there, and you got a great view of the stage, bro. And there were other people there, a couple other, couples or whatever in there watching the bands and all that too. Everybody's smoking weed and whatnot. Good times.
I've been going to the Woodlands and the Cynthia Woods Pavilion over there, which is a really nice place to watch musicians.
Yeah.
You can go and get a seat, and they have a park area with like the river and whatnot that goes through it. You can just set up a blanket out there and not even have tickets to the show and listen to everything. It's amazing. Very good venue. I saw Matchbox 20 the first time, Joe, back in 97. They were part of a festival that I went to out in Fort Worth, the Texas Motor Speedway. It was Bush, No Doubt, Collective Soul, Third Eye Blind, Matchbox 20, Cake, the Nixons, Presidents of the United States, and Paula Cole and Jewel were all part of it. It was the Blockbuster Music Festival.
Look at that.
There in Fort Worth.
Tex-Mex Frank, right on cue. I knew he was going to ask me for this. So I got to do it, man. Here you go.
presumir, a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
Yeah, we're pouring one out for the Cowboys season because it effectively came to an end.
I think a lot of fans had already memed the Cowboys before the season started, and they said the Cowboys are already out of playoff contention.
So, Joe, before we go, I'm taking a look at the weather for this week, the coming week. Apparently, there's going to be some rain coming into town. Got a 35% chance of rain tomorrow, 25% chance on Wednesday. Got a 50% chance on Thursday, 70 and 75% chance on Friday and Saturday. At some point, we're falling back, right, on time, right? That's what we're doing. But tomorrow is supposed to be the last 90-degree temperature for the year. Gets up to 91 tomorrow. But, Joe, I'm looking at the projected highs beginning next week, Joe. Lows in the 50s, highs in the low to mid-70s, Joe. Fall will finally be here.
False fall.
No, we're already past false fall. This is it. This is it, Joe.
Dude, you could have fooled me, man, because the other day I was outside throwing some stuff away, right? Had to take the old pool down and throw it out in the front yard, which is what you're seeing out there.
Right.
Because the bulky item pickup's coming today. And, man, I was out there on Saturday, dude. It was like 92 degrees, bro. 92, man.
Yeah, but tomorrow, though, is the last 90-degree temperature.
I hope you're right, dude, because I'm looking forward to having some cooler temperatures. You know, I want to go out in the backyard and have barbecue while I'm watching a Cowboy game or NFL football, you know, maybe have a little fire pit going and watching some games in the cool weather.
Joe, so what are we doing?
Nice.
What are we doing Saturday night, man? This is when you party because the time goes back.
It does go back.
So that means it gets to be 2 a.m. and then it goes back to 1 a.m. So everybody gets an extra hour of drinking.
You know what?
On Saturday.
We do need to have our 1,000th listener party. So why don't we do it on Saturday?
Either this Saturday or the next Saturday. We'll figure it out.
I want to do it this Saturday because this Saturday would be ideal because I believe on Sunday is when I'm going to go ahead and spend some time with my daughter because it is going to be her birthday. So it's either in November, I'm swamped with birthdays, dude. All my kids are born in November. And then we got Thanksgiving and whatnot. So it's like I can't do it then. So it's going to have to be now or never, man. We're going to have to pick a spot for Saturday and just say, F it. This is where we're going to do it. We're going to do it here, you know, and I think we're going to have it at a decent hour. I want to do it before the rush comes in because then you're there and you're just waiting around for tables and whatnot.
We know the people who watch this podcast are in their 30s and 40s and 50s.
5 o'clock, bro. 5 o'clock.
So we can, because we can go home by 8 or 9.
Get it bit. Wild times now, man. But I think,
you know what? We need to get like a celebrity crew going up there, a local celebrity crew of Minix and Ryan Eagle and Pittman and Jeff Garcia and Pledger.
I gotta say, man, I love me some Pitt, man. Him and his wife are just so nice, man.
They're great.
They're great people, dude. Great people. Pledge. I mean, come on. I love Pledge to death, man.
See if I can get Spreester out there, man. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see everybody. Ernie Zuniga. I liked him.
Ernie's great.
I liked him. Or I like Ernie.
Rudy
Ernie's
J.
funny. Yeah.
Spurs tonight against the Houston Rockets, 7 p.m. tip-off. I'll be at that game. I'll be in section 208, middle of the court, row 1. Joe, I had the opportunity to get the lower level seats, which is like the 110. Joe, did I do the right thing, Joe? I'm taking myself, taking my daughter Gabby, and I'm taking my nephew.
When is this?
Tonight's game.
Okay.
So I had a choice, Joe. Lower level, $110, but it was row 28, 29, or 30, or that's $120 a pop, or upper level, first row, middle, for $40 a seat, Joe. Did I do the right thing by getting the $40 seats?
Yeah, they're good.
Because really, I see no difference between being row 31 lower level and being row 1 upper level. You're basically the same.
It's the view, you're a little bit closer, but at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I mean, if you're going to take a lot of people and you're just going to want to have fun hanging out with family, just get the upper level.
It's right in the middle, dude. Right in the middle, first row. I'll take it.
If you're going to go by yourself, it's just you and your girl, or just you and your daughter, Gabby, for example, one other kid you're taking. Yeah, you could get in the lower bowl,
When it comes 3 or more, you got to get up.
Yeah, you got to, because, I mean, it gets a little bit more costly.
There you go. Everyone, come by, say hi to me. I'll take a Dos Equis if you want us to come say hi. Section 208. I'll be there tonight. Everyone have a fantastic day. Go Spurs, go. And as Jeremy Sohan says, fuck Houston. See you guys tomorrow.